Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Cindy Grossman. New York City born and raised, luxury retail management was her game. Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom were her jewelry playgrounds. Had enough at 38, fled to Miami, where Neiman Marcus Bal Harbour found her. Recruited to Mont Blanc, where her regional position challenged her. Met her husband 4 years ago, and Brevard County she did go. COVID hit, she needed a new career fit. Age-defying beauty with Mary Kay, she did say. And now, here's Cindy Grossman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Mesmerize the Mirror at Any Age. And we are definitely mesmerizing it tonight, aren't we, Mitch?
Yes, we are, and you look mesmerizing.
Thank
you say that color is coral?
Maybe peach.
Peach? Okay, all right.
People can't really. But thank you. And Jesse, thank you for always being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
We couldn't do it without you.
That's for
thanks.
sure. That's for sure. Today I have a special guest, and I think she's going to explain a lot of different things to us. Dr. Stephanie Lopez, now known as Dr. Steph, is a former NASA psychologist turned mindset, emotion, and communication coach for powerful women. She's the founder of the Brave Method and uses eye-opening self-discovery tools to guide high-achieving women, particularly those who grew up with a troubled relationship with their moms. Interesting. To get in the driver's seat of their emotions and reactions so they can clearly feel happier, calmer, and lighter. That's a lot to handle, I would say, right, Dr. Steph?
I love it. I love this work.
She takes on a big challenge.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Because you always hear, people go into therapy, oh, my childhood, my childhood, my childhood. But you're really, centering it and really getting to the nitty gritty, I want to say. I just want to let everybody know, I met Dr. Stephanie Lopez at an ABWA dinner. She was our guest speaker. And there she spoke of some very interesting things, and the room was buzzing. I think there were about 75 women there that night, and she had everybody thinking. So what her session was about, I'd like to explain. A simple model that highlights the difference between being brutally honest and truly open, okay? The three most common ineffective approaches we use in interpersonal communication. The number one thing that holds us back from communicating effectively. And she also talked about a framework you can use to improve the way you communicate with others. I know as soon as she was done, I ran right up to her and I said, everything you talked about is something that I had to deal with in big corporations, and especially as a woman. And, your ideas would be played out, and it would come down where they took every idea you had, and you felt, you felt awful. But let's talk about what's happening now. So tell us, a little bit what, how you made your transition and things like that.
Yeah. So NASA is an incredible place to work. And I left surprisingly in 2020. I'm part of the Great Resignation. I had my second daughter and hit a very low point. And I realized, you know what? This is not my dream. Even though it is a dream come true job, I knew that I wanted to leave to focus on helping women feel more confident in themselves and happier and calmer and not deal with anxiety every day. And one of the things that I help people with most often is communication, like you saw, because it's a struggle that we all have, because most people have never learned how to communicate effectively.
I believe that. Yeah, you had the different colors. So the women there that night were, some of them were very much blunt about the way they came across to people, but I don't think enough of those women did come from a corporate background, which of course you did with NASA, I did with, Richemont and some of the big companies I work for. And it's just not easy. So, I mean, how did you work through that at NASA, and how, have you incorporated it now with the women that you're working with?
Yeah. Well, the same model that I use works for personal conversations, startup conversations, corporate conversations. It really doesn't matter, because we are all human. And if you think about the issues that come up in organizations, 80% of them are people issues. And those issues are actually rooted to a very large extent in our insecurities, which might sound like a little bit random right now to anybody listening. But for instance, if I have an insecurity around feeling judged or rejected by somebody, do you think that I'm going to communicate effectively with them? No,
Of course.
no. I'm going to people please. I am going to, and this is how I used to show up many times. I would just say yes, even when I wanted to say no. And then I would feel stuck in situations, and I would get myself in situations where maybe I would feel taken advantage of, or I wasn't doing what I wanted to, and then I wasn't happy. And that resonates for a lot of people. Because you know what, a lot of people are not doing that inner work that's necessary to have the conversations that you want to have, and to be able to show up authentically to yourself.
So how were you able to, I guess, convince a woman or even a gentleman in that situation that in order to be heard and not feel that way, you have to come across? How were you able to do that?
Yeah. Well, I don't approach anything from convincing things. People have natural desires. Yeah. And so I worked with a lot of leaders there, but the vast majority of them are very good, and they want to be the best version of themselves. So I simply brought the same training that I did for the group that you were with to them. And we had a lot of eye-opening conversations, and, help them figure out, how do I frame up these conversations with quote unquote difficult people, and get through that in an effective way.
That's terrific. And I guess, you had success. You were there for 8 years, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a good time to really see the growth of people and see the changes in the atmosphere and different things like that. That's for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, the former Ochiko, which is the head of human capital for all of NASA, they have 10 centers. Well, they have 9 now, but she said, you just walk into a room with people that have careers that are 30, 40 years longer than you, and you don't care. I'm
right.
like, yeah, I'm just here to help make things more effective. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm going to be direct, but I'm also going to be kind. And so that tends to resonate really well with people, because I'm not coming from a defensive place. I'm coming from a place of genuinely wanting to help you overcome what's holding you back.
Right. And of course, coming from you, it's not personal. It's really, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help the corporation. So now fast forward, you're working with individual women and specifically really diving into their past relationships with their mothers. Now, how is that all coming about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the way that we show up in conversations, whether sugarcoating or saying things that are politically correct or people pleasing or being brutally honest or withholding what we want to say, is, like I said, rooted in those insecurities. And where do the insecurities develop? Childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the clients that I have just naturally attracted had issues with the way that their emotions were handled by their mother. And so I just started basically recruiting those people because they were the ones that were naturally coming. But as you noticed in the training, this is really applicable to any open-minded person. It's just that sometimes if people aren't in enough pain, then they don't want to solve the problem for themselves.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to learn how those problems can truly be solved. Thank you so much.
Need an enlightening pick-me-up? Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy to energize your skin and keep it looking fabulous forever. Kristen can help with hair removal, sugaring to keep your whole body smooth and conditioned. Kristen will help you refresh and defend your skin while giving you a customized facial. Cindy helps skinergize and get you camera ready for your everyday look or special occasion. Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy. Find them on Facebook under the Skinergy Squad.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal Upholstery, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington furniture designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. And right now, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach next to Planet Fitness. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and also visit our outlet and closeout store directly across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture, stop on in today and have a sunshine, sunshine, sunshine day.
Are you ready for the ultimate charity softball tournament presented by Cleveland Clinic Indian River Hospital? Come join us for Sawbones versus Jawbones, where local physicians and attorneys show off their skills and compete for the win. Bring your friends, family, and team spirit, and we'll see you at 6 p.m. on Friday, May 19th at Holman Stadium at the Jackie Robinson Training Complex. Concession stands will be open. All proceeds benefit the programs and services supported by United Way of Indian River County. Let's play ball.
The law offices of Goldman, Monahan, Tucker, and Bettine is here to help you with your personal legal challenges, business needs, and real estate matters. Since 1984, we have assisted countless numbers of Florida individuals and businesses with their legal issues. From trusts and estates, wills, real estate, and civil or criminal litigation, we pride ourselves on maintaining lifelong client relationships and would appreciate the opportunity to assist you and your family as well. Please call 321-639-1320 for further information on the law offices of Goldman, Monahan, Tucker, and Bettine. I'm a non-attorney spokesman.
And we are back at Mesmerizing the Mirror with Dr. Stephanie Lopez, and of course Mitch and Jesse are here as well, listening. I hope you guys are taking notes on this.
We are.
Okay. So now, of course, in this day and age, we're dealing with women, and you have the working woman who, can do anything today. And then, of course, she may have children and a husband. So how do they deal with burnout? I mean, I'm sure that's something that comes up in your conversations all the time.
Absolutely. So many women that I hear from are burning the candle from both ends, so to speak. And I couldn't relate a lot to that when I think back to how I was showing up in my life in undergrad, during grad school, while working at NASA, into starting my own business. I really didn't have any concept of relaxation, which some people listening to this might be like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I remember a specific time in my life when I was dating someone and he was like, oh, I'm going to rest and recharge. And that's not, as a high achiever, how I was raised. And so I started meeting people that were like that too. They're just go, 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 go. And this is often tied to perfectionist tendencies and high functioning anxiety. So maybe overworking to the point of burnout, finding it difficult to relax and enjoy life, not being able to be present in the moment, finding it difficult to ask for help, not asking for help because you should be independent, and then feeling alone as a result of that, and stressed, and regularly neglecting self-care. I mean, I feel like probably a lot of people listening can resonate to those things. And so then this pattern happens where working until you just can't anymore. And so for some people, when you just can't anymore, it either shows up as maybe having an emotional breakdown, or maybe yelling, maybe rage, maybe just constant anxiety. And so now I work with a lot of women to help them overcome these patterns. And it's a lot easier than people think it is. These massive changes, women who have come to my 4-day retreats have told me verbatim, I love therapy. I've gone to therapy for 10 years. And in 4 days, I got more than I did in 10 years. So a lot of it is just not having the right tools.
So with that, tell us about these retreats.
Yeah, I host these 4-day retreats in Florida, Cocoa Beach and Orlando, and we dive into the exact tools that you need to create the life that you want, to feel happier, to feel calmer, to feel, to recognize your power, and that you can handle literally anything that comes about.
And this is for any women. Could be a working woman, could be a stay-at-home mom, it can be any type of women. And when is your next one coming up?
I actually have one in 2 weeks. This one is a 2-day retreat. It's May 18th and 19th. And my next scheduled 4-day retreat is next February. I only have 2 seats left. They fill up quick.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And where can people find out and learn about the retreats and learn about you? What's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah. Either my website, which is www.brave-method.com, or on Instagram at Dr. Stephanie Lopez.
Okay. Now, the Brave Method, how did you come up with that?
Yeah, this is a framework that I used to guide myself. There's 3 pillars: self-awareness, self-empowerment, and self-acceptance. And that's rooted in all of the work that you do, whether you do one-on-one coaching, or you come to a retreat, or you do my online program. These are the pillars. And what I found is that without one pillar, women end up stuck. They don't know how. They might say things, for instance, like, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel guilty, or I don't want to be exhausted, or I don't want to just anything. And they're like, but I don't know how to change. Part of the framework teaches you that. And if you're missing that pillar, then you might have awareness about why you're stuck. You might have awareness about a lot of things in your life, but you don't know how to get out of it.
Right. So many women, I feel, suffer some kind of, mental and emotional stress in their life, and they really don't know how to get out of it. I mean, there could be, and then I think it hurts, the marriage, and it can hurt, the behavior at work. It really can take over your whole, personality,
your whole life,
who you are. Yes.
Yeah.
Why is
absolutely
my experience dealing with clients and talking to people, I don't know why, but it seems like if there was a conflict in childhood, it wasn't necessarily between the father and the son. I mean, not that certainly that's the case, but it always seemed to be more between the mother and the daughter. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that.
No, we're not talking about Cindy's mom.
No, of course
not. No. Please, Celia, if you're listening.
Of course not.
We're not talking about you, generally.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I do not have an answer for that.
Yeah. That's an interesting.
But it does, I mean, that's just my observation.
Oh, Yeah.
You know, it does seem to be more the case.
Oh, especially Mitch, you know, he deals with all types of law. And I'm sure when he hears about the estate lawyer and the family comes in, I'm sure that's when things can get a little interesting.
A little hairy,
for sure.
for lack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's true.
Yeah,
Well,
for
I
sure.
think, you know, mothers and daughters are really the closest to each other. I think that could possibly be a reason, more so than a son with a father. You know, I think.
Yeah, you might be right. That might be the reason.
I think that's usually the case, but I'm not.
Yeah, I know a lot of men are raised or have been raised with toxic masculinity where emotions are not shown. And maybe a lot of things are not said, they're just kept on the inside. And that might not lead to explicit issues with children because maybe they're holding it all in versus showing up in a certain way. But I have clients who have issues with their fathers too. So,
Right. Yeah, I would think so. But I
Yeah.
think the whole thing that, you know, people need to talk about it. People need to not get to a point where it's you know, we hear about suicide and we hear about, you know, marriage breaking up, and I think it's because people just don't know who to go to for you know, to listen, to vent, really. They have no one to vent to, and they can't seem to figure it out. So having someone
You know
like
what
you in their life.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're almost at time, so I don't know if I have enough time to get this out. But the common denominator is that people's relationship with their emotions isn't healthy. So maybe they suppress their emotions a lot, and it creates issues for basically everyone. If you look at the US, what percentage of our population says that they feel anxious? Like almost all of them. That is a direct result of suppressing your emotions, like a direct result, and nobody's talking about it. And so people aren't learning to literally feel their feelings. And when we don't feel our feelings, we show up defensively. That might look like blaming somebody else. It might look like people pleasing. It might look like innocent things like helping when somebody doesn't want help. It might look like using humor when you're uncomfortable, or criticizing, whether that's in your head or not. And as you hear that, you're like, well, that's pretty much the whole world. It is. And that's why this work is really needed by anybody that's open-minded, because they are dealing with the results of their insecurities every single day.
And we're just flashing about you and
Oh,
what you
thank
do.
you.
Now, I think I did hear a rumor that you're starting a podcast as well.
I am. Yes.
Tell
I'm
us
so
about that.
excited.
Yes.
Yeah. May 23rd, it is the Broken to Brave podcast with Dr. Steph. I didn't mention this earlier, but historically, I felt like something was wrong with me. I felt broken, even though on the outside, everything looked fine. I was a high achiever, perfectionist. I had a job at NASA, had a doctorate, but I just felt like I was anxious more than I wanted to be. And I would have these moments where I had these big emotional reactions. And what I'm finding is that there's a lot of people that are dealing with that every day. And that this podcast is to help women find their power and realize that they can be unstoppable, and they are just missing a few life skills and tools.
That's fantastic. And where can we find this podcast?
It'll be on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, everywhere, YouTube.
Oh, great. Okay. So everybody make sure you listen into that podcast. And if you need to get in touch with Dr. Stephanie Lopez, please make it something, a priority to help yourself, because she can certainly help you. So Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you.